Conspiracy theories seem to be a rather good conversation starter, primarily because there are so many different perspectives. From Project Sunflower, which dealt with the testing of deceased young babies and children's tissue, to that of the possibility of the Dalai Lama being a CSI agent, these are what you will hear in the top 10 crazy conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Number 10. Project Sunshine. In the wake of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the US government commenced a major study to measure the effects of nuclear fallout on the human body. With the conspiracy primarily being that the government was stealing dead bodies to do radioactive testing, it sounds rather rash in our opinion. We see this as being inhumane, even if the bodies that were obtained were from the deceased. However, the truth that surfaced was that although the government were not stealing entire bodies, they were in fact stealing parts of dead bodies. The reason that they did this was because they needed young tissue, so the primary sources of the tissue was from deceased babies and children. They further wanted to see if exposure would then affect tissue over time, as long as the tissue was kept alive and well perfused with blood. They would then take tissue samples from the different limbs without the consent from the families of the deceased. This left a total of 1,500 grieving families unaware that their deceased were being sampled. Number 9. Death by alcohol. Having been poisoned due to drinking too much alcohol needs to be differentiated from having one glass of alcohol being poisoned. The latter is what this conspiracy theory focuses on. During the Prohibition, the government poisoned alcohol to keep people from drinking. This specific decision is rather rash, as well as infringes on the lives of those that sought alcohol as a social means. The truth then surfaced that manufacturers of industrial alcohol had been mixing their product with dangerous chemicals for years prior to the Prohibition. However, between 1926 and 1933, the federal government pushed manufacturers to use stronger poisons to discourage bootleggers from turning the alcohol into moonshine. That didn't stop the bootleggers or their customers, and by the end of the Prohibition, more than 10,000 Americans had been killed by tainted booze. However, we know society well enough to know that if you halt their access to a commodity that they have ingrained into their lives, they will stop at nothing to get access to it. Number 8. Mind control. Governments all tend to have very undercover operations, which more often than not tend to involve humans. A conspiracy that has been floating the internet for years was that the CIA was testing LSD and other hallucinogenic drugs on Americans in a top-secret experiment on behavior modification. Now at this point, the USA wanted to make sure that they had the applicability of being the first to really perfect behavioral mind control. This meant that they could tell prisoners to tell the truth at just the faintest request. The truth is that the program was real, and it was known as MK Ultra. The CIA found that asking for volunteers would be the best bet, including that of renowned novelist Ken Kesey. However, the program needed a wider range of testing and started to dose individuals without their knowledge, leaving many permanently mentally disabled. It seems that there really is always a price you pay, and the dosed individuals were simply just at the wrong place, at the wrong time. Number 7. The rich Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is widely known for being a continuous reincarnation. However, the conspiracy theory that exists is that the Dalai Lama is a CIA agent. I mean, if one were to first read this, they would be initially shocked. A man that preaches so much with regards to inner peace is actually a CIA agent. Let that sink in. However, the truth is that Dalai Lama pulls in a six-figure salary, which stems back from when he pulled down from the US government during the 1960s, especially in the Tibetan resistance. According to declassified intelligence documents, he earned $180,000 in connection with the CIA's funding of the Tibetan resistance to the tune of $1.7 million per year. This was with the main intention and idea to disrupt and hamper China's infrastructure. This is a definite example of a crazy yet true conspiracy theory. Let us know down in the comment box below what your thoughts are about this conspiracy theory. Number 6. John Lennon. There has been much talk surrounding the involvement of the government with public figures and artists. A well-known conspiracy was that the FBI was spying on the former member of the hit band The Beatles, John Lennon. This is all true, primarily on the premise that Lennon was seen as a counterculture hero. This meant that, in terms of the government's perspective, John Lennon was a threat. He was made very famous through his anti-war songs, which included Give Peace a Chance, resulting in a response that from the Nixon administration that wasn't exactly endearing. In 1971, the FBI put Lennon under surveillance, and the Immigration and Naturalization Services tried to deport him a year later. This seems to be a common manner in how governments deal with situations. When you do something they don't like, bye-bye, you are out the country. We've reached the midway point of the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel if you are enjoying the video so far. Whilst you're at it, hit that notification bell to stay in the loop on all of our new videos. Number 5. A fake battle, but a real war. War history has quite a good few conspiracy theories. A well-known one is the Gulf of Tonkin incident on August 2, 1964, which was faked to prove American support for the Vietnam War. The main reasoning that the Americans want to hide the involvement in supporting the Vietnam War is unknown. But the truth behind it is that by the time that the news had reached the Americans' ears, the facts surrounding the North Vietnamese attack on the American naval ship Maddox were already fuzzy. As usual, the declassified intelligence documents have since revealed that the Maddox had provided support for South Vietnamese attacks on a nearby island, and that the North Vietnamese were responding in kind, according to the US Naval Institute. The event opened the floodgates for direct American military involvement in Vietnam, which may be seen somewhat as a double-edged sword. Number 4. Alien evidence in the American Northwest. When we look at the existence of ET, who would think that it would be related to the Atari video game ET being buried in New Mexico? The conspiracy is that the actual ET has been buried in New Mexico, but the truth is that the Atari video game, the extraterrestrial, failed so miserably that the company had decided to bury all the unsold cartridges in the New Mexico's desert landfill. We hope that you didn't think that we thought the actual ET was buried in New Mexico. Well, this hasn't happened just yet. What we see is that it is not easy to bury something forever. There will always be remnants no matter how hard we bury it. It is not easy to bury things forever. Who knows, with the existence of possible alien findings and sightings around America, ET may just make an appearance anytime soon. Number 3. Canada's gaydar. With the beginning of homosexuality becoming a real thing, the conspiracy theory is that the Canadian government was so paranoid about their occupants being homosexuals that they attempted to develop a gaydar. The truth is that it really happened in the 1960s, where the government hired a university professor to develop a way to detect homosexuality in federal employees. They came up with a machine that measured pupil dilation in response to same-sex erotic imagery. The Canadian government used it to exclude or fire more than 400 men from civil service, the military, and the Mounties. This was followed by them being placed on a registry that was primarily focused on accounting for all the homosexuals present in the country. Thankfully, things have changed a lot since those days. Number 2. The Illuminati. There has been much talk regarding the Illuminati over the past 5 years. The conspiracy is that there is a secret society that rules the world, the Illuminati, and that the US National Security Agency are in cahoots. This has been quite the conspiracy. However, the truth is that there is in fact a link that exists. The link is that there is a hyperlink, and that there is an electronic link between two internet sites. What we find is that if you type Illuminati backwards, Itanimuli, into a web browser, you will land on the NSA website. We may be too scared to actually put this in a Google search because who knows who would be watching. Number 1. The First Lady who ran the United States. Women have been running the USA since Edith Wilson. When we look at this conspiracy, there was a stroke that rendered the United States President Woodrow Wilson incapable of governing, and his wife surreptitiously stepped in. The truth is that Woodrow Wilson did suffer a debilitating stroke towards the end of his presidency. However, the government felt it was in the country's best interest to keep things quiet, which we do not know what the use of that was. The public didn't learn about the stroke for months, during which time his wife Edith Wilson was making most executive decisions. Despite Mrs. Wilson claiming that she acted only as a steward, historians who have analyzed the Wilson term in office confirm that for well over a year, Mrs. Wilson was effectively president. Well, that's the end. Which one was your favorite? Be sure to comment down below and be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.